The Smoking Glass Hour believes in giving back and giving credit where credit is due. Our number one goal is to make a difference. The music you hear on the Smoking Glass Hour comes from Purple Planet Music. They can be found at www.purple-planet.com. Go check them out.
We can be most effective when we are engaged in the political process, and there's no time like the present. One of our main goals is effective advocacy through active participation from you. Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything. Our efforts to keep you engaged and informed as to the importance of current events happening locally and abroad started 2 years ago. Our number one goal is to make a difference. We need you. Join us at the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Catch us at www.thesmokingglasshour.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. We are honored to have you as a guest tonight and want to thank each of you for your faithful support. Without further delay, allow me to introduce to you Mr. Baron Glass. Mr. Glass, take it away.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. On tonight, we're going to talk about the idea for Sanders, the grand deal, and post-hour discussion. I'm going to be joined tonight by Mr. David Lamont, who was the guest on last week, who talked about the 5-point plan, so to speak, with regards to getting people involved. And David did such a wonderful job, not only in the live broadcast, but along with the blab and some of the other ways that we communicate with those of you out there who may be listening tonight on the live broadcast. Now, tonight, we have something that is just a little bit different. If you go to www.blogtalkradio.com and search for the Smoking Glass Hour, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to register and log in, and you can chat with us live from Blog Talk Radio, or you can go right over to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, and chat with us live there as well. You can also check us out if you call in at 773-897-6398 and you'd like to engage in the conversation, because we're going to be talking about Bernie Sanders. We're going to be talking about what happened in Iowa on Monday night, the first caucus. Now we're headed to New Hampshire, which there appears to be a little corruption, so to speak, a little disagreement with regards to the outcome of the Monday night's election. David, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, David. I've been looking, and monitoring. And I've kind of been a little upset because it appears that some of the Hillary Clinton fans feel that because you are a Democrat, that you are obligated to vote for somebody who you feel is not the best choice for the job. And then when you look a little bit deeper, when you start to pointing out the staunch differences between your candidate, Senator Sanders, and their candidate, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, it still creates influx within the party itself. So, David, let's talk a little bit about the Iowa caucus. Now, we agreed on Monday night that if Sanders could stay within a 5-point margin of error with regards to the outcome, that it would in fact be a win for him. Why? Because former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has notoriety. She's been out there for 30 some odd years. She's well known. She has all of this money that's being dumped in to her campaign. And based on that alone, she should be able to just run away from an unknown individual, so to speak, by the name of Bernie Sanders. Give us your characterization of what you felt like happened on Monday night.
Well, quite frankly, it did. From all appearances, Bernie Sanders was the great comeback kid, much in the same vein as was talked about with Bill Clinton back in the back in the 90s when he ran for president. Bernie Sanders came from a 50-point deficit all the way to getting within 0.2 or 0.3%, depending on which results you look at. So that shows an extreme movement towards Sanders in the way that he's attracted new voters. We also had one of the largest turnouts at the Iowa caucus despite inclement weather. Victory for the movement.
So, David, for those who may not understand the aspect of politics, some feel that a win is when you come out more on the top with regards to numbers or points or percentages. I think it ended up being 49.9% and 49.6%, something like that. What we're saying is this once again, is because she has all of the name recognition. She is a part of the establishment with all of the money from Wall Street and all of the big time donors within the party itself. She should have had a better turnout than what Senator Sanders did. So based on him being able to push her literally in a corner, and then to my understanding, David, and you may look at it a little bit different. I feel that we still don't know who the clear winner is because of all the corruption and commotion that basically has gone on. So, in your opinion, explain to those out there who are listening why, once again, we feel that Senator Sanders basically came out with a victory because of the outcome on Monday night.
Well, again, we're just looking at Hillary Clinton when she announced her campaign. Basically, the impression we were given by the media and by her campaign itself is that Queen Hillary is coming and everybody else can stand aside. Well, on Monday night, Bernie Sanders proved that the Queen is not necessarily getting her crown. Now, again, she did win. She got the most votes. But when we break it down and actually look at what happened, there were 6 contests within Iowa that were decided by coin flips. And if only 3 of those coin flips had gone towards Bernie Sanders, the headline would have been Bernie Sanders wins. So the fact of the matter is Bernie Sanders tied Hillary Clinton, who was a 50-point lead at the beginning of this race in Iowa. That's no small accomplishment. That is no small feat. And that's thanks to the efforts of people to get out the vote and to spread the message that we've been trying to do, both you and me, getting that word out about Bernie Sanders.
Okay. I see that we are having a hard time for some to understand. Again, when you look at it from a specific standpoint, a statistical standpoint, from a standpoint of politics, the art of politics, if you are the best player on the team, so to speak, if you are the MVP, so to speak, well, when you are playing against an unknown individual, it would automatically be assumed that you will run away with regards to the score, the points, so forth and so on. So if this other person comes out and gives you raw HELL when they are playing against you, the individuals that are out there may draw the conclusion that you may not be as good as you think you are. And would you think that, David, that is a good analogy to kind of explain why we're saying that because he came within that margin of error, most of the time, if it's within, I believe it's 3 or 5%, depending on what poll you're looking at, you're within the margin of error. So it's a statistical dead heat, a dead tie. Would that be correct, David?
That would be correct. That's absolutely correct. They each got about the same amount of delegates, but because Hillary was declared the winner, she was given 1 extra delegate. Now, a lot of news media is nearly 30 delegates. They're including the super delegates in Iowa that had previously pledged towards Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in my opinion, is the media's way of trying to stretch out the victory of Hillary Clinton, diminish what Bernie Sanders accomplished. But don't listen to that. It was as close to a dead heat as you could possibly get.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we talked, David. When you say that Secretary of State, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, is dishonest, when you say that she is a part of Wall Street, when you say that she is a part of the establishment and all of those other things, that she cannot separate herself from the message from the messenger. Why is it you think, David, that other people that are pro-Hillary always come back with, well, can you think of anything that she's lied about? Or what is it that she has not done that she says that she has done? Explain that to me, David, and the audience, the listening audience that's out there, if you can. Because I don't even know if it's explainable.
Well, I think that one of the problems that we ran into with Hillary Clinton was when she's the type of politician that when she's falling behind, she resorts to more or less direct attacks, dirty politics, the normal game, what we used to call the Karl Rove tactic. Well, it's not beyond the Clintons to go ahead and do that. And now, I'm not trying to say that Hillary Clinton is necessarily the worst candidate or anything like that. I will vote for her over any Republican that is currently running, and, we can go into the dirty pool that some of those guys are playing. But it's been intellectually dishonest the way that Hillary Clinton has been categorizing Bernie Sanders, and the media is complicit in this painting the picture of Bernie Sanders as being this crazy socialist character. We've said before, the so-called liberal network of MSNBC, every chance they talk that they have to talk about Sanders, they like to use the word socialist, trying to invoke the spirit of the Cold War and Nazi kind of socialism rather than being direct and honest about what that actually means. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking at is basically a politics as usual kind of candidacy from Hillary Clinton, and the Bernie Sanders campaign is trying its best to stay out of that type of politics, and they're running on the old-fashioned kind of standard of, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, not how bad the other guy is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if we be at least try to be partial honest, let's look at health care when it comes to specifically and strictly to Senator Bernie Sanders and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Can you tell us, David, in your own opinion, based on the fact checking that you've done, where do both individuals stand? And let me go. Well, before I go there, what people fail to understand right now is that Bernie is a part of the progressive movement. Hillary has stated that she was a liberal. She has stated that she was a progressive, and she has stated that she was a moderate. So the question is, when is she, whichever one that she chooses to be? Right now, the progressive movement is the hottest thing that's going. I think you'd agree with that, Dave. So based on the progressive movement, what is it that Senator Clinton is saying versus Senator Sanders? What is it that they both are saying regarding the health care and what we should do for this particular country? Single payer versus what we have now, which is I'm not going to call it Obamacare. I'm going to call it the Affordable Care Act.
All right. Well, this is something that I was touching on in some of the other venues that I've been working through. But basically, we have a choice between no, we can't coming from Clinton, and yes, we can coming from Senator Sanders. And what I mean by that is, let me give you an example. Back in the 60s, in 99 days, we got a constitutional amendment lowering the voting age to 18. So, that's something that is unheard of, getting a constitutional amendment through that quickly. You know, we also did things like raising the minimum wage by 25% in the early 60s, and within 7 years, it was at 60% higher. We got Civil Rights Act, Voting Acts. We got to the moon, Clean Air and Clean Water Act, Medicaid and Medicare, Welfare and Low-Income Housing Bill, the Peace Corps, and this was all before cell phones and the Internet. It was under President Kennedy and Johnson. So you have to ask yourself, is Hillary Clinton portraying a true progressive message when she's saying, no, we can't do a single-payer health bill? We can't do that because it will never pass? Or is she in the vein of Kennedy and Johnson saying, yes, we can? And I think Bernie Sanders is capturing that Kennedy spirit, that Johnson spirit, the Great Society. And Hillary Clinton is more like the establishment, but no, we can't. Very similar to the GOP in regards to telling us what we can't do. And, you know, it comes down to one question. Do you want a change election or do you want a status quo election? Senator Sanders represents that change election, and Senator Clinton represents the status quo. Nothing wrong with you having either opinion, but you have to be honest and say, this is what we're looking at.
So, David, let's dig a little deeper. We know that people are saying, well, I'm worried about him in the general election. Is he electable? Are we looking at another Barry Goldwater, whatever the case may be? Why is the climate different now than it was back then when we had a situation where an individual such as John Kerry ended up winning the primary, and then when he got into the general election, he could not deliver? What are the different geographical situations that exist? Now, when I say geographical, I'm talking about the climate, the differences in the policies and procedures, the time frame that we're in now. People are saying that the younger generation are only doing this out of emotions. Well, I think we are underestimating the younger generation. What do you think about that?
Well, I think there is a little bit of fairness in questioning the younger generation. They did come out for Obama in 2008, but subsequent elections, they didn't really come out in mass for the administration. So we do have to, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have to look at it this way. But the thing with young people is if they feel inspired, if they're riled up by a candidate, they are going to come out. And if you keep that momentum going, they will carry through into later elections. So when we go back and look at someone like John Kerry, what we're looking at is what has been categorized as the Bob Shrum type Democrats. These are the Democrats who are being told that you have to run towards the center. You have to try and get these unaffiliated voters or undecided voters. And when I look at these elections, I think that that's more or less a myth. I don't think that people are undecided. They may not be registered. You know, we may only have about 32% Democrats and 28% Republicans, and everybody else is in between. But a vast majority of those people vote either Republican or Democrat rather consistently. So what you have to do to inspire people is something to take out of Ronald Reagan's quote book. You have to be bold colors, not pastels. So your John Kerrys were pastels. They were just left of center, if not right of center. And people like Bernie Sanders, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's someone we haven't seen since a Teddy Roosevelt or Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He is just inspiring young people to actually get out and participate in the movement. And it's the perfect storm for him. We have record healthcare costs, we have record student loans, and it is a perfect storm for a candidate like Bernie Sanders if the word just gets out about him.
David, I'm not sure if you watched the New Hampshire town hall meeting on last night. one of the questions that, and I don't necessarily have a problem with this because, again, fundamentally, I disagree with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. I 100% support all of her achievements, unless she got them where she was actually putting other people down to climb up the ladder. Absent of that, I support her fully, 100%. So I don't necessarily have a problem if people feel that her voice, her words, her wisdom is enough to be paid $300,000 or $600,000 or whatever it was that she was paid from Goldman Sachs. Do you see that as a potential problem or something that's nitpicky that we should move away from and stick to more of the fundamental issues about health care, about education, and all those other things? Do you feel that that is basically just something to kind of offset Senator Clinton from those that are in opposition of her? Do you feel that it's something that's valuable and should be discussed with regards to the amount that she made during the speeches for Goldman Sachs?
Well, I would have to say, as much as I don't want to form the type of circular firing squad and give the Republicans ammunition, I think it's a valid point that's brought up, because it plays into the idea that Hillary Clinton is possibly up for sale. You know, the impression is that this money was given to her in exchange for some sort of favor. It's the same thing that we've seen time and time again when it comes to, you know, someone from the oil industry donating to Senator Inhofe, and then Senator Inhofe brings a snowball into Congress to say that climate change is not real. We get that same kind of impression from Hillary Clinton when we see this sort of thing. It could be an unfair characteristic, and I think I mentioned it to you in a previous chat we had, where are we looking at the possibility of Hillary Clinton being able to be pushed in a direction like FDR was, or is she just going to be a standard corporatist Democrat?
Mm-hmm.
Because FDR came from the most corrupt state at the time. He was governor of New York when he ran for president. And the situation that the country was in made him the man of history that he is today. He was not necessarily the FDR we came to admire before he ran.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you know, the idea is, if we can't get Bernie Sanders in, what we have to do is quickly rally behind Senator Clinton and push her in the direction to make her the woman of history that we need her to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as concerned personally about what Goldman Sachs paid her to do for speech. This is a typical thing in politics when you are a political insider. So I want to move on from that. I want to push her continually in a progressive direction and have her fight over those ideas with Bernie Sanders and see who believes who and who trusts who most.
Okay, David, somebody just put on the live chat on Blog Talk Radio that says documents and records obtained by NBC News suggest that as a visiting professor at Florida International University, Marco Rubio worked less than 10 hours a week and made more than most part-time visiting professors. Now, I think that right there is a problem, or it is assumed to be a problem, because if you're working less hours than the norm and you're getting paid more than the norm, then that come across more as a problem versus somebody with their talent, such as Hillary, because she does have a record, a proven record of doing, she's been in the trenches, she hadn't been on the sidelines, so again, I give her credit. So when we look at, what I'm trying to do is draw a distinction between what is fair game based on fundamentals and what is something based on whining or disagreement just because you dislike the person. So when we look at, let's look at some of the other candidates that are out there. Senator Sanders. We know that he has been in the legislature for some, I believe, 30 some odd years. What specific bills that you are aware of that Senator Sanders can fall back on with regards to something of a major disruption by way on the positive side of helping the communities as a whole throughout the United States of America with regards to his policies being a United States Senator? Do you have any, David, that you'd like to discuss?
The ones that I can recall offhand would be he had a bill that he co-sponsored that required the Fed to be audited for the first time ever. I think that was a key piece of legislation and something that he can look back on to inspire the people who aren't trusting of government, whether or not they're on the left or right. Another bit of bill that he was a big sponsor of is Veterans Administration reform. He's been a champion of the veterans movement for decades. He has always been someone who's got on the Fed chair. In fact, you can find these videos on YouTube. Every year Sanders was in Congress, he would call on the Fed chairman at the time, Alan Greenspan, and just dress the man down. It's almost comical to watch how Bernie Sanders is taking on someone that both the right and left consider to be a respected Fed chair. So, these are things that Bernie Sanders has been passionate about. Mm-hmm. Worked with Senator Warren on reintroducing Glass-Steagall. He is the only senator running who voted against the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and the first war in Iraq back in the 90s under George H.W. Bush. So we can look at these things. These are all points that we can make. If you're someone who is not for continual warfare, well, Bernie's your candidate. If you're someone who actually is interested in real fiscal responsibility, then Bernie Sanders is your man, and he's got the bills to back it. If you want someone who really supports the troops, not just wants to send them into wars, well, Bernie Sanders has a track record on that. So I think those are key areas, especially when it comes to things like veterans and reining in the banking system, that can appeal to both the more libertarian and even some conservative types as well as progressives. Mm-hmm.
So, David, when we look at people saying that his policies or his health care or all of those other things are gonna, they're not possible or they are too outlandish or whatever the case may be. Is it? That's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to be fair to, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, former, as well as Bernie, because my belief, David, is that regardless as to what any candidate that is running is saying or have said in the past, they're not going to be able to get 100% of the things done that they say they would like to do. Some things are just a thought. Some things are just what you would like to see done, but you still have the right and the desire to express that information to the listener. So if we look at the insurance versus the college tuition, do you see that as a potential gag on Senator Sanders' part, with basically bankrupting the country or making it worse as far as the deficit is concerned? Do you feel that what he's talking about is basically realistic when you start putting the numbers together and something that could, in fact, benefit this individual country we call the United States?
Well, I think the biggest problem when it comes to Sanders' policies is they go against the normal grain. People like hearing politicians talk about taxes. And Bernie Sanders actually on this saying, yes, tax, but overall savings on that tax are going to make up for it. People don't like and that's the problem Sanders has. Now, Sanders outlined as saying that high volume trading, a small tax, high volume trading will cover the solid.
Hey, David.
And I don't.
Hey, David. David.
Help that.
Yeah.
They haven't
David.
or on those yet.
Hey, David.
Yes, sir.
I believe we're having a little difficulty with you speaking right now. What I'm going to do is take about a 2-minute commercial, let you adjust your headset, whatever the case may be, because I want to make sure that everybody hear what it is that you got to say. I believe we have on the line Mr. Ongerio Cameron out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and my other co-host of Glassology 101, Pastor A.F. Riggins, Dr. Riggins, soon to be of Real Life Church out of Houston, Texas. I'm going to bring them in. So let me take a quick commercial break. You're looking at about 8:32 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. Tonight we're talking to Mr. David Lamont. The topic, idea for Sanders, the grand deal, and post-hour discussion. We'll be right back, David.
Game-changing innovation will always be at the heart of the Smoking Glass Hour and our goal to make a difference. Just as our message has evolved to meet the challenges of the 21st century, so has our approach to community engagement. We believe when people talk, differences can be made. We believe when diversity exists, it's a pathway to success. Tune in to our live broadcast, social media messages, and join our Make a Difference campaign. Let us massage your ears. Tune in at www.thesmokingglasshour.com or catch us on social media at Baron Glass Hour. We are on the move in the 21st century. Join us.
It's time to take back control of our society. Today's world requires an open and honest discussion about the current events. Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass, our goal is to engage people from different walks of life into a healthy discussion, creating a positive outcome. When it comes to global events, tune in to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass on Monday nights at 7:30. We don't just...
Hello, this is Baron Glass, host of the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass on the all-new #1 global radio station, WMAD. Before I do my live broadcasting, I always dine in at the all-new Main Street Seafood Restaurant located in downtown Columbia, Louisiana, owned and operated by Mitch Brett. Check them out. I did.
We are back broadcasting live with the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass. David Lamont, we're joined tonight. We're talking a little bit about the Iowa caucus and the grand deal for ideas for Senator Bernie Sanders. Just during the break, I was alerted that it has become a battle royal and a slugfest. They hit a nerve with where campaign funds are coming from, and it appears that Senator Sanders and former First Lady, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton are going at a slugfest. We're going to hopefully get out of here in time so those who want to go and look at that can, or either go back and check the archives out. David, just before the break, we were talking. I'll let you finish because I know the phone was kind of going in and out, and I want to make sure that everything you were saying, people have the opportunity to hear. Mr. David Lamont.
I believe we were talking about Senator Sanders' accomplishments in legislature.
Yes, sir.
All right. As I said before, he voted against the wars, the first Iraq war and the subsequent Iraq war. He also voted against the war in Afghanistan. He was a critic of the Patriot Act. We've got all of these types of pieces of legislation that are going to appeal to people on the left who are getting tired of constant warfare. For the conservative side, he is for bank reform. He's for auditing the Fed. He's for Glass-Steagall, which many conservatives that are informed are not particularly against the idea of. So he, and often in his own elections in Vermont, he garners a significant portion of Republican votes. So in those kinds of cases, it shows and demonstrates that he has the capability of crossing the aisle, pulling voters over, and dispelling that myth of the undecided voter. So that's what I see as a strength in his campaign.
In fairness, David, and again, we know that Senator Sanders is the angle that we're looking at, that we're going. Do you see an equal strength with regards to Senator Clinton? Because I think what needs to happen is this, David. We know that one or the other will be selected as the nominee. So regardless as to what negatives one has over the other, unless you're like me, who may ride the fence, and when I say ride the fence, I've never not voted since I've been able to vote for a presidential election. If I have, I can't remember it. So the only reason that I can find that I would support Senator Clinton is because we know today that the next president will have the opportunity to put at least 4, which is a majority, new associate justice or perhaps a Supreme Court chief justice, depending on the circumstances, on the court. So the court can either become more liberal or can become more conservative. So that's the only reason that I see that I can support Senator Clinton. But to be fair, do you see any strength that she have, should she become the nominee, that you could actually convey to other people to garner them to go over and support her rather than Senator Sanders, should he not be selected or elected as a nominee?
Absolutely. One of the key things is she has a 90% progressive voting record in her time in the Senate. She supported the Lilly Ledbetter Act. She supported and was a champion of the 9/11 First Responders Bill and also advocated for its renewal. She was the first lady to have a policy role in the administration of her husband, including advising on health care, which was a pretty decent health care plan when you look back at it. She is also a champion of the Children's Health Insurance Program. She was key in the validation of the Gulf War syndrome. She was a de facto dignitary and a Secretary of State. She has got a lot of positives going on her side there. She also is probably, in terms of actual qualifications, one of the most qualified candidates in U.S. history. You know, you may scoff at the idea of her being a first lady, but not very many people have that close a contact with a sitting president. She was also senator from one of the largest states in the Union, and she served as Secretary of the State, which in the beginning of the Republic was a stepping stone to the presidency. So as much as we may be in favor of Bernie Sanders, it is not that hard to sit there and look at Senator Clinton and go, she is going to be a better candidate for president than any of the offerings the Republicans are giving to us. He will appoint justices on the Supreme Court who are left of center, who support women's rights, who support civil rights, all of those things that we hold dear. Senator Clinton will support. I have no problem casting my vote for her in the presidential election.
Okay. We're joined, I believe, by Pastor A.F. Riggins and Ongerio Cameron. Are you two guys still out, Ongerio Cameron and Pastor Riggins? Okay. I know...
yes, sir, I'm here, sir.
Okay. Mr. Cameron, are you out there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. David Lamont and I have been discussing some things that were going on, basically the Iowa caucus, some of the things going on with Senator Clinton, some of the things going on with Bernie Sanders, and I noted that it is a slugfest going on now with regards to the debate. And I'm reading from a respondent. Hillary is prepared and hidden strong and solid. Bernie is coming back, but has so much to say at times, gets away from a question, but he called it what it is, which is big money campaign funding, called out the Koch brothers and a few others. But Hillary came back swinging. Hard to say at this moment. Bernie has some good, strong points. He does best telling what doesn't work as to saying what he is going to do. Hillary is saying what she is going to do. Hard to tell. Wall Street is an issue. So that's some of the feedback that I'm getting out there now from the actual debate. I'm not sure if Angerio, if you watched it, Pastor Riggins. So I'll start with you, Angerio. Talk to us about what you see in this upcoming election, the Iowa caucus, or anything pertaining to the national election in 2016 for the President of the United States.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, and thanks to your distinguished guests for their comments on it. I've enjoyed the show. My perspective on it is one of the reasons I'm a Hillary supporter is I believe that she will understand the mechanics of what Barack did best, and his policies have moved the country, I believe, in a very forward direction. And so I think that she would be more likely to be successful at carrying on his legacies and being able to work across lines with other senators who have probably more of a working relationship with her than they have with Bernie Sanders. And so I think that time is of the essence to straighten our problems out. So I believe that she would be a more viable candidate, not necessarily that she's a better person than Bernie. It's just that I think she's in a better position to carry on the policies of the president.
Okay. Pastor Riggins, my good friend, we know that by trade, by education, you have a degree and you teach history. And you also are deeply rooted, deeply involved in politics. And I have often said that you know it better than anybody else that's out there. Now, I know that you've been leaning on the side of Senator Clinton, but you have also been open-minded like David Lamont, saying that you're not close to Bernie. So tell us your assessment of what you think happened in the Iowa caucus and what's happening tonight on the New Hampshire primary debate, along with what you think the outcome will be or should be come November of 2016 when we elect the newest president, 45, for the United States of America.
Thanks, Barry, for having me on tonight, and it's a loaded question.
I can give them to you, Pastor. Go ahead.
I'm watching the debate right now, and I'm enjoying it. Best debate out of all the debates we've had on both sides, because now you got one-on-one. You know, you don't have a third person or a fifth person or seventh person. Matter of fact, the moderators just ask one question and let them go for 15, 20 minutes on it. So, we have the noise coming in again. I don't know if it's on your side. They go to each other toe to toe. Hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. So what's happening is that our caucus situation, and this is one of the reasons why I read in 2008 after I saw what happened with Obama and Clinton at the time was going at it. Democrats delegates. They don't get, like, winner doesn't take all. And the Iowa caucus, Bernie Sanders, never, he ended up getting 21 delegates. She got 29 delegates. And he virtual tie. And in the Republican, she would have got all the delegates. And so I'm glad that, at least for his sake, we can see a competitive race going. And and so now I'm looking at it a little bit different. I'm assuming President Barack Obama had won back, and then he had got 29, and she had got he got about 30, maybe she had got 18 or something back then. I got upset about all that. But I can see now why the Democrats do it this way. That way the race remains competitive, and then you can keep pushing toward June or July without like one person take all, and the other person have opportunity to make the race, make the other candidate a better candidate. Mm-hmm. Now, I heard Andrea talk. I can't always say his name.
Angerio, that's fine.
Angerio, yes. he said he was supporting Clinton, and he was talking about her carrying on President Barack Obama's agenda. I would say that if the case is made for President Clinton or for her to be president, it's going to be even better than President Barack Obama in one sense. And please don't hang up, everybody. President Barack Obama and Senator Sanders are both senators. They're used to making decisions from a legislative point of view. Now, our government is three: legislative, judicial, and executive. Because her husband was a governor, because her husband has been president for 8 years, because she's been a Secretary of State, she has a better pragmatic way of dealing with the other side. See, our choice is going to be progressive. They're both progressive, as David said. She's 90% progressive, whereas Sanders is 100% progressive. But then when it gets to dealing with making it happen, taking what you believe and making it happen, who's going to be more pragmatic of getting the other side? For instance, the issue with the Affordable Health Care Act is this: the insurance companies have to stay inside the loop of it. Because why? Because in the end, the only way to get the other side to cooperate was to let the insurance companies stay in. But if we had a more pragmatic person, when we had both the House and the Senate, to be able to make a deal with those Republicans on something else and get what we really wanted, we would be talking about going back to trying to do a single payer. We'd already have that in place. So the only thing I'm saying that President Clinton would be more effective in pragmatic approach. Now, we want to vote on principle, vote on progressive issues, and we want to take it all the way to the top. That way, then you go for Sanders, and then hope that he selects the other young lady,
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren, because he's going to need, because you're all in now. You can't go in halfway. You got to go all in. That means that it's going to be all or nothing. But if you're dealing with trying to be pragmatic in the approach, then Hillary Clinton is the best vote. And then what she's probably going to do is pick up one of those Castro brothers, like Joaquin Castro out of San Antonio. And guess what? And I'm going to say this. Everybody said, want our country back, want our country back, want our country back. There have been 43 presidents are Anglo men. The 44th African-American man. Why can't the 45th be a woman with an Hispanic vice president? See, America's changing. See, so you got to look at what you're looking for in the big picture. What are you looking for? Do you want, what kind of change do you want? Do you want the change of saying, listen, we're trying to go get Wall Street shut down. We're trying to get a new healthcare system. We want, got these questions. What do you want to change? There's going to be a sea change that says, look, we're not going to give you your country back so fast. We're not going to have John Kerry and Bush and Bob Dole anymore. We want a real change. Besides what we've already had, we want to keep this change going. That's how I look at it from a historian point of view. Mm-hmm. So my mind's not made up either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not made up.
Right.
I like what I see tonight. I like the fight I see going on tonight.
Right. And I'll tell you, Pastor Riggins. Go ahead. Finish up.
If Sanders want those things to be changed, he has to stand toe to toe with Hillary Clinton and prove himself. Because if he can't fight Hillary Clinton, the Republicans going to tear him up. And if Hillary Clinton don't fight with Sanders, they're going to get herself ready. They're going to talk about one thing: email, and find out today Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice aides had all the same type of stuff. Private emails classified on Google and AOL. At least she had her own private server where it was hidden when they were on the public systems. You see what I'm saying? So it's some stuff they switching, but they bait switching and tell you, look at this. She can't be trusted. Look at her emails. Man, look, Colin Powell stood in front of the whole country and said that the WMDs are there and sold it to us. Knowing he was telling a lie, but he was following the leader, George W. Bush and Rumsfeld. And we give him the pass and say, well, he knows, and he did. He was a great guy. He was great. He great at all he did. But he saw and was going to go get the oil. But he said WMDs. But he turned around and redeemed himself and said, I support President Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. Why can't Hillary Clinton, she's made some mistakes, redeem herself? Because politics is a dirty game. And my dad's always told me, you're always voting for the lesser of two evils.
David Lamont, I'm going to let you jump in because I'm going to just kind of moderate it. Based on what you've heard from Mr. Cameron Ongerio and Pastor Riggins, give us your summation of what you've heard, because I think Pastor Riggins just gave a wonderful distinction as to if you're on this side of the fence, you should support Hillary. If you're on this side of the fence, you support Bernie in the primary. But at the end of the day, when the smoke clear and the dust settle, whoever is chosen, there's got to be something that draws you to this other person. Again, I'm speaking solely for myself. I'm not saying that I'm drawn to Hillary. I do not like her. I have specific issues with her being an elected individual myself. However, I do not like any Republican individual that's running, period, other than John Kasich, and I can tolerate Jeb Bush, but I would not vote for either. David Lamont, talk to us.
All right. Well, I can't really disagree much with what the pastor said. I thought he was very insightful. I'm impressed with his knowledge of history. Being a bit of a history buff myself, I'm very insightful. I would nominate someone like others from Texas. Either one of them are excellent candidates for vice president. I think that they will do a great job carrying on the traditions of the Obama administration. My argument is that, do we want that status quo? Do we want that type of administration, or do we want someone who will flip over the table and throw himself at it to make positive changes in the country? You know, I listen to Republicans talk all the time, like the pastor said, about taking my country back. Well, I can tell you, I don't want to take my country back. There's nothing to take it back from. I want to take my country forward. Either of these candidates will do a great job in taking us forward. We all know what that taking back our country is. It's a dog whistle. We are all familiar with these kinds of things. So we have to move beyond it. We have to turn it on its head and go right back at it. We want to take our country forward, Republicans, not backward.
Pastor Riggins? I know that pastor's always on mute out there, David. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah. Did
I'm agreeing with it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay.
I see what he's saying. I really, thank you for the compliment you made, sir. And we're all on the same team right now. We're on the same team. We're just trying to figure out.
Hey, Pastor, with the exception of the host, because I'm not sure I'm on that Hillary team, and I'm not sure I can get on that team. But you know what?
No, sir. Because if the day is done, if she get elected, you said you're not going to vote for the other side.
I may not vote at all, Pastor.
No, sir. That's something you don't never do.
No. Seriously, though.
Right.
Seriously. And one of my other buddies that talk clear and concise and bring out other points. See, that's what we all need to do. When you sit down and talk about these things, there's going to be something that somebody else can say that you can glue to or you can mesh with that can actually get you over the hurdle that you need to, because at the end of the day, no vote should be wasted. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yes, sir, because what the deal of it is that it's not like she's the enemy. It's not like her politics are wrong. You probably have some personal issues and with the way she's done again. But see, most of that Clinton machine stuff was started by the Republicans. That's what they want us to believe, that the Clinton machine is wrong, because they could not stop Bill Clinton no matter what they did. All of his personal issues, they couldn't stop him. He was a savvy politician. And now we're all over. Two top men in the world, and one of them dead, or three top men, one of them dead. Mandela, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama. And that's the gist of what people, Mother Teresa up there, Bishop Tutu. But what I'm saying is that's what happens. Why the Republicans be so mad? Like, okay, because when they look at America and say what America's supposed to stand for, those guys stand for what America's supposed to stand for. People like Donald Trump, people like the Bushes and all of them, they stand for the capitalism of America. But we're talking about liberty, freedom, human rights. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton happens to be married to Bill Clinton, and whether you like her political process, she still stands for what we stand for. And so, in the end of the day, whether Sanders get it, and I wish in the perfect world, Sanders would make everything right. It's just that we got to position him to be able to, if he makes it, to be able to work with a Congress that does not be worse than what's going on with President Barack Obama, where they say, what we're going to do is we're just going to say no to everything he's saying doing. So we have somebody up there, and everybody hollering no. Do you understand how they did the Eric Holder and what's the new lady? How they did that situation? They held her so long, but they didn't even want to, just for the fact to say no, just because he had the first African American Attorney General, now he's about to have the first African American lady, those kind of things. So when he would get in, when he was talking about changing a lot of stuff real quick and big overhaul, sometimes they'll trying to do everything not to make it work, and then make it look like he's stupid. But we gotta make sure we position him in a position that if he wins the nomination, that he can go in and do those things and not just saying those things. That's what. And on the other side, if she gets in, I know she'll be pragmatic to make it happen. And whether you want to say it or not, everybody talk about Michelle Obama is on the side of President Barack Obama. Just imagine Bill Clinton back in the White House. Man, you back to the 90s in a lot of areas that are positive, not negative, but positive. You know, the things that brought us to the top in the 90s when he was there. So all that's got to be taken into account. We on the winning side. We got to decide which one we're going to put up to be on the front line, and who want to sit on the bench. As we want to put a sports analogy.
Okay, just a little breaking news. PolitiFact confirms Bernie Sanders' health care plan will save every American family $1,200 a year. Now, you may want to go out and fact check that. It's from usuncut.com, just posted that about 15 minutes ago. We got Larry Bell out there saying, Pastor, that's right. David, he's saying amen to you. Out there, we want to make sure that we try to get all of these comments in so people that's out there listening can have something that they can fight, because we know, when I say fight, we know that knowledge is key. And we know that anytime we're looking at Rubio, looking at a Ted Cruz, looking at a Donald Trump, looking at a Chris Christie, none of these guys are saying specifically what their policies will be regarding the American people. Now, what they will do is wait until the individuals from the Democratic Party say something, and they'll come back and just 100% specifically discredit this. Now, and the only thing that I'm saying is this, is that if you are looking for policy, you need to have somebody who can explain at least logically what it is that they're going to do, so you can digest what it can happen or what it can't. If somebody's being very generic and very unclear to you about what it is they're going to do, then when they get in office, they can do whatever it is that they want to do because they didn't tell you what they were going to do from jump. When you look at Donald Trump, this guy is the richest whining baby that I've ever seen. When you look at Ted Cruz, this guy is as corrupt can be. When you look at Marco Rubio, who has no experience, which is the same thing that the Republicans decried the president for lack of experience, but all of a sudden the rules have changed, and now Rubio has enough experience to occupy the White House. Well, Pastor, Rubio and Cruz, they are both younger than you and I. Okay, they're both younger than you and I. And I know that I don't have enough experience to go inside of the White House as astute as I am or consider myself to be in politics. I don't think that you would say that you're ready to go in the White House from where you're sitting right now, not that you're not capable of. So I'm going to go to Ongerio, I'm going to go to David, and then I'm going to go back. I'm going to bring it back to you, Pastor, because we're looking at about 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to take it just a little bit further than 9 o'clock. Tell us, Ongerio, what is it that we need to do to get people involved from the Democratic side, regardless as to whether they're supporting Senator Clinton or whether they're supporting Senator Sanders. We need votes. We need the turnout. And when the primaries come to your particular state, we need you to get out and vote. Talk to us on Ontario, then I'm going to go to David, then I'm going to come back to you, Pastor.
Well, I think one of the primary things we need to do is get out and knock on folks' doors and get them involved in the process. Be proactive in this. It's a very important thing to, especially this younger generation, to introduce them and get them out into voting. And just be involved in the process and make them understand that the decisions that are made by these candidates will greatly affect their lives, and that it's important that they have a say in how they go.
Okay. So, Ontario, what is MOC? Many Hands, One Community, I believe. You can tell me what it is or tell the audience what it is. Tell us what MOC is doing to energize people, not necessarily coming out endorsing somebody, but it's fine if you are. But what is it that you're trying to do to inspire, engage, and encourage the community from Little Rock, Arkansas to become involved in the 2016 presidential election?
Well, one of the things that Mike is doing is having open discussions and forums and inviting people in to come and share their ideas. And no matter even if they're Republican or Democrat or independent, but to come and express their ideas and to respect one another's ideas, but to certainly expect it. And one of the things I want to make sure that people do understand is it doesn't matter who you're voting for, Republican, Democrat, but to get involved in the process. And that's the primary thing we're doing in terms of trying to get people in, because that's the main thing you got to do is create dialogue for people to join the discussions. And once you can do that, then people will be inspired because they'll be informed, as you say. They'll have a better way of understanding what the candidates stand for and what their values is in relation to that. So that's one of the things that Mike is doing. And Mike is Many Hands, One Circle, which is linking communities together one at a time.
Okay, David Lamont.
Yes. Well, first off, I want to say I really love that idea, the Many Hands, One Circle. Is that what he said?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Well, I agree with him. We have to, again, going back to my 5-point plan, contact 5 people, directly interact with them, call them up, make phone calls, go to doors, read articles, make your voice be heard, scream, anything you can to get the word out. Get on social media, tell people where to go, where to look, where to listen, to find out and get informed. You know me, I'm a big guy about education, learning the facts, learning the positions of the candidates. So, just like he was saying with the Many Hands idea, I wholly agree with it. We just have to get out there. We have to tell people. We have to be active. We have to offer a ride to people to the caucus or primary, depending on where your state is and how the voting is. Offer to register people. There's all kinds of things that we can do depending on your time level. Even if it's just sending out a message, an email to your friends saying, hey, are you going to vote? Every little bit counts. We have to work hard and get our message out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, David, how important is it for those who are having primaries in their state? And I'm going to take it to Pastor Riggins after this. How important is it, because you talked about the other night, the Our Caucus. You explained specifically and very eloquently how the caucus worked. Let's look at the primary and tell those that are out there, when they have a primary in their particular state, we know that Super Tuesday comes up, I believe, March the 1st or somewhere in that vicinity. Tell us why it's important to get out there and join the primary and cast that vote.
Yes, well, just like every election, every vote counts. I know that there are people out here who try to portray the voting process as being an apathetic thing. No, it's a very important thing to do. And traditionally, in primary votes, there are less people voting. And the less people voting is not the voice of America being heard. So the best thing for you to do is to vote. I don't care which candidate you vote for. I don't care which side you're voting for. You have to be heard. So it is very important just like it would be in a caucus state, to get out and vote in a primary. The good news about those of you who have a primary instead of a caucus is it's a much quicker procedure. You go in, you cast your vote, typically there's no line, and that's it. You're done. You've done that effort. As far as I know, in the few states that do any kind of ballot by mail, I don't believe that applies to primaries, so you do have to go in person. Try to find people who can take you if transportation is an issue. Usually church groups are doing it. There are also the headquarters of the political party can put you in touch with people who can get you there. Talk to your political party. See what you can do. Man a phone, any of those kinds of things to get people out there and informed. And make sure that that you got the dates right. There's a lot of shenanigans that go on in these elections, so it's very important to educate your fellow man and woman out there.
Okay, Pastor Riggins, I'm going to give you time to come in because I know that you're watching the debate. I know you always have a delay, but what is it, Pastor, that you feel we can do, whether it's from the clergy, whether it's from the church, whether it's from organizations such as Ontario, whether it's David Lamont talking about the 5-point plan? What is it that you see that needs to be done to energize, inspire, and encourage people to get out there and go vote in these primary elections leading up to the general election?
Thanks, Barrett.
Did we lose you, Pastor? I'm not sure if we lost. Yeah, did we lose? Okay, go ahead.
Trying to be here.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I think I accidentally pressed one again and put myself off.
Okay.
I will talk about the primary and the general because we have to. Here's how President Barack Obama won the first time. Folks said, okay, here's an opportunity for something different. He's going to unite us. He's going to be a president of color. And, man, people flooded out there in lines and lines. I remember 2008, people all over were flooded in lines. Even if, like in Texas, he lost in Texas, but the vote rise of the Democrat was larger than ever before. Then in 2012, the fight was this. Folks trying to do the vote ID, trying to keep people from voting. And so people in Ohio and Florida went out there again and says, no, we're going to stand in lines till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning so that we can have our vote be counted. This year, we've got to determine what is it. If Bernie Sanders is our nominee, what is it about Bernie Sanders that becomes the one issue to get people out there? Not 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 issues. It's got to be one driving thing they hear over and over that says we got to go to the poll for Bernie Sanders. He got to find that one thing that gets everybody's attention. Sad to say that's how it is because we're people of short attention span. As David said, we get in real quick and pull the lever and move our business. So it is in our own lives. TV everywhere, Twitter, internet. We don't need a whole lot of stuff. Need one thing. We know what the one thing with Hillary Clinton is: first woman president. See, so Bernie got to find that one thing that drives people out there, and then we got to drive it home. Let me tell you something else. The shenanigans of the truth. Here in Texas, most every precinct or voting area is ran by the Republicans. They run the whole state because the way that the suburbs, people go vote for the suburbs, people inside in the cities, like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, don't go vote. If they went to vote the way they should, Texas would be a Democratic state. I'm going to ask you on the line, how many folks get their voting cards mailed to them? Do you get your voting cards mailed to you, Barry? Guess what? Today, and I've done it every year, today I come out and got the mailbox. My card, my wife's card, and my son who's now 18, our cards in the mail. Why? We live in a suburb, and they think that everybody out here votes Republican. I get phone calls saying Donald Trump going to be in Beaumont. When George W. Bush was running, people would come to me, put stuff, trying to get me to go. They believe that I'm Republican, so they're going to give me every opportunity to be involved. Let me go over to the inside the city limits and see who got their voter cards mailed to them.
Mm-hmm. So it's a basic form of redlining is what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Right. So what happens is while they're trying to card people for voter ID card and all this kind of stuff, keep people voting. Meanwhile, if they think that you in the geographic location that's part of the gerrymander to get them to win, they're gonna help you. They send your card in the mail to you. Everybody in the house is eligible to vote. All of a sudden, haven't even applied for it, anything. They send it to me in the mail. That's we got to fight that machine like that. We got to ready to fight that machine to get our vote out there.
Well, I'll tell you, Pastor Angerio and David, here's what I want to do. I want each one of you guys, because you know, Pastor Riggins, you know it better than anybody. Our number one goal is to make a difference. And we make a difference when we get people together, sit down at the table of love, and we share what we have in common. Not our differences, but we have in common. If anybody is out there tonight, you have somebody in, I believe David is in Missouri, right, David? Colorado. Pastor Riggins is in Houston, Texas. Angerio is in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I am in Louisiana. None of us have ever met, with the exception of Pastor Riggins and I being in college, and we know each other from a personal standpoint. My point is this: mainstream media this tonight. Why? Because if we can energize people to go out there, get involved, and start to voting, we can, in fact, make a difference. So, David, Angerio, and Pastor Riggins, I want you guys to exchange email addresses or your Twitter handle or your Facebook page, because, see, when we go live, Pastor Riggins is on Sunday and Wednesday nights. I'm on Monday nights and Thursday nights. And David, you and I are on Blab. We're on Periscope. We're doing live videos as well as together for one common cause, whether it be for Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. We do have the power to defeat the Republican machine that is out there. Those guys do not mean anything but corruption for this country. Ted Cruz has only one thing, which is to prove that he was sent here by God. Marco Rubio wants to be this and he wants to be that. We need people with substance, and we need people that has proven records of policy and procedures of moving us forward. David said it best: rather than taking the country backwards, we want to move the country forward. David, I'm going to allow you to give out your contact information as slow as possible. Angerio, I'm going to come to you. Then Pastor Riggins, I'm going to bring it to you. Then we'll close it out.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for having me on. Twitter account. That could be at DM Lamont. That's D as in David, M as in Michael, Lamont, LAMONT.
Angerio. Angerio Cameron, are you still out there?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
You can contact me at angerio@yahoo.com. That's ANJERRIO @yahoo.com.
Angerio, you also have a Twitter account as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter. I have both a quote page and a regular Twitter account, so just follow me on Twitter.
Okay, and that's at Angerio Cameron or at Angerio. How's it posted? Because I can't recall it.
Right, it's Angerio Cameron. That's ANJERRIO. Cameron is with a K, AMERON.
Okay, Pastor Riggins, I know that you have not went directly to Twitter yet, but you do have a Facebook page, because you can tell them when your show is being broadcast. We want to make sure that we always do what we set out to do, which is tell a neighbor, tell a friend. We're on the move in 2016. Pastor Riggins.
Yes, sir. I'm still fighting the tweeting. I don't want to tweet yet.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, My email is qfernel, QFERNEL @gmail.com. QFERNEL @gmail.com. And I am Aquila, AQUILA, Fernell, FERNEL, Riggins, RIGGINS, on Facebook, or it'll say AF Riggins. Aquila, AQUILA, FERNEL, Riggins on Facebook. But I'm fighting the tweet, but I don't know, maybe there's something I'll break down in the middle of all this political stuff and go ahead and set up one. And then once I set it up, then I'm going to get so many, thousands and thousands and thousands. No.
Well, Pastor.
I'm clouded. I'm just clouded.
Oh, yeah. We know it's all in good love. Hey,
I'll get 5 followers. I'll be happy.
Hey, that's fine, Pastor. We love to share who it is that we already have. Of course, you know I have to come back and tease you with AQUILLA, the girl pronunciation of the name. You got on to me plenty of times. You even changed your Facebook name. That's the kind of relationship that we have, where we can be serious and we know how to throw in the lit comedy and things of that nature. Tonight, we've been talking about Senator Sanders, the grand deal. We've been talking about post-election, our discussion. Maybe Sunday night, David, either Saturday, we'll get together and we'll talk about this New Hampshire primary. Pastor Riggins, you forgot. I'm going to bring it back to you once again. Tell us about it. Wrap It Up Live and Real People, Real Life, Real Answers. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yes, sir. Sunday nights, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We're on Blog Talk Radio at 347-855-8118. Wrap It Up Live. Now, this Sunday night, I'm not going to try to fight the 50-year Super Bowl. We're going to replay what we did last Sunday night on the hour, and some of the stuff we talked about is going to happen in an hour, happen the next day. So, but every Wednesday night, we are live with a Bible study, straight from the Word of God, no politics involved, straight from the Word of God. I don't mix the two. That's what happens with a lot of the Republicans and conservatives. They mix religion, politics, and find themselves in trouble. So on Wednesday nights, it's straight from the Word of God, same place. Blog Talk USA is the platform. Baron Glass is the creator of the show. 347-855-8118, 6:30 Central Standard Time on Wednesday nights. But the Sunday after next, we'll be back live, talking about what happened in New Hampshire, looking towards Nevada and South Carolina. But I'm not going to fight up against the Super Bowl on Sunday night. That makes sense. So
that's understandable.
So there'll be a replay, but you can catch me normally at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right there, 347-855-8118. And we're all into the politics now.
Well, I can't go without letting David come back. But before I do that, Politico just fact-checked. Bernie Sanders says 6 bank companies have assets equaling 60% of the U.S. gross domestic product. They fact-checked it, and they determined that was true. This debate, I believe, is going live. It's throwing a lot of smoke. We're getting some substance. We're not looking like some clowns from the Republican to the Grand Old Party. David, tell us your YouTube channel, along with, I believe, David, as a result of becoming involved, engaging with us, he has started his own thing. David, tell us a little bit about that, then we'll close it out.
My YouTube channel is Screens from the Center. I do videos as often as I can discussing political issues, breaking news. I'm in the middle of a process called 5x5, where I take each presidential candidate on both sides, give 5 good things, 5 bad things, and let you decide. I can be found on Blab, again, at the same handle, at DM Lamont. You can also email me at screensfromthecenter@outlook.com. So, there's plenty of ways to get in touch with me. I also have Facebook, Screens from the Center. So I have that page devoted to my show as well. I am also looking into the possibility of doing a broadcast much like this here. Barron has inspired me to try and get something like that going. So I'm investigating on how I can convert my studio to there, trying to get people and inform people. We had a great discussion last night. We had upwards of 30 people in the room. All 4 chairs were filled. We were really getting deep into to go on Blab after this and do the same thing again. So thank you for having me on.
Anytime, David, anytime.
Yes, very, very informed.
Anytime, David. As you all of these services are brought to you directly by Administrative Services Direct. You can go check them out at www.thesmokingglasshour.com. You can go up to the top tab and look for Administrative Services Direct. David. It does have a cost association with it, but it is something that you can look at. Once again, we've been talking tonight about Senator Sanders, the election process, the hour discussion with regard to Hampshire primaries. On and on and on and on. So we want to thank Ontario Cameron from Little Rock, Arkansas, Pastor A.F. Riggins, Dr. soon-to-be A.F. Riggins from Houston, Texas, and my good friend David Lamont, one of the most balanced guys I've ever seen from the state of Colorado, not just the state of Colorado, but from this country. He's very balanced, he's very open-minded, and he does not deal with anything other than facts. If you're going to talk to David Lamont, that's fine, but you must be able to present some type of concrete, abstract facts. Otherwise, you get nothing. And I am glad to be a part of David. I'm going to make sure that I continue to try to catch some of his blogs, some of his broadcasting, because he supported me. I'm going to support him. Pastor Riggins, I got to continue to do the same thing with you in my own way. You and I talk about it, because at the end of the day, when the smoke clear and the dust settle, we do not need to elect anyone candidate from the Grand Old Party. If you stay at home, you're part of the problem. If you go out and vote, at least you try to be a part of the solution. You're listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Baron Glass on WMAD 24-hour Global Radio. Thanks, guys, and have a good night.